And I'm sure that journey that you've taken will resonate with our next person up, with Lucy.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you.
You loving it?
I've loved watching everybody and listening to everybody so far. And Angie Brown just then was incredible. And you're right, it does resonate very much with me. And I'm hoping that I can tell my story even just slightly as eloquently as she just managed to. But thanks very much.
Lovely. I'll put your PowerPoint up. You all right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Take it away.
Fab. Hi, everybody. My name is Lucy Flower, and it's lovely to speak with you today. First up, I have a confession. This is my first ever BrewEd, and also my speaking debut alongside these incredible people. So I am really, really fortunate to be here, and so grateful to anybody out there who is watching and listening to me. So I am here to tell my story, and the reason why I want to talk about leading after a setback is because I found that when I was open and authentic about this on Twitter and through my blog, that I had so many messages, some public and some private, about other people who have felt the same way or have been through something similar, and who were just looking to reach out and to connect. And I just hope that telling this helps some of you in some small way. So a little bit about me. I've been teaching for 11 years now as a teacher of music, and a few years ago I was an assistant principal. Extremely proud to be on the senior leadership team at such an early stage in my career, and honestly, work was my life. Work was everything. Work was who I was. And it wouldn't be unusual for me to spend 60 or more hours a week working. All my friends were my work colleagues. The students were like my children, like my family. And yeah, it very much, that sort of very positive, that very ambitious, that very driven person was everything, was who I was. I then had my first baby, Rosie, and I went on maternity leave. And during maternity leave, I actually, unfortunately, suffered with postnatal depression. And it was during that time of real, actual isolation and sometimes frustration and that real fear of not being very good at being a mummy, and therefore not being very good at being me either, um, and also not being at work was really, really difficult for me. And through reaching out, I came across the paternity teacher project, and I found them via Twitter, and they absolutely did inspire, empower, and connect me. And through them, I started to receive some coaching to help me sort of refine myself and refine that confident, bubbly person that I once was, and to work out that actually work wasn't everything and that I was somebody else as well. So I returned from my maternity leave as an assistant principal, feeling good, feeling ready for the challenge, and with a really new sense of who I wanted to be as a leader. Um, and unfortunately, that didn't go very well. I really struggled to keep up with the deadlines, with the busy schedule of being a member of the senior leadership team and being a new mum. Very sleep deprived, still breastfeeding, with a million other things going on in my mind. And gradually, day after day, I became more and more frightened and panicked about the fact that I wasn't very good anymore. And I really felt like a failure. I felt awful. I struggled to sort of show up and to put that smile on. And inside, I was just drowning. I was lost. Um, and so, I made mistakes, and I got to a point where I didn't really feel like I was embodying the values that were so precious to me. And so I made a really difficult decision, and I decided to step down to go back to classroom teaching. Um, and that, with myself, with work being so tied up in my sense of self, I felt lost. And I remember I had a coaching session about 3 days after this had happened, and my wonderful coach asked me to describe how I felt, and this was what I said. I felt alone and isolated in a field. I couldn't see anything through the fog. I was completely lost and completely alone. And so it was, as you do when you're lost, that we decided if we couldn't see the way forward, we couldn't see the path forward, that we decided to look at maybe retracing my steps and look back at where I'd come from. And so with the help of my coach, we started just putting in those signposts, just gradually tracing back through my career and through myself and my own experiences to really find how I'd got there and how I'd got to that point, in the hope that then maybe we would start to forge a path forward. It was also through the MTPT project and BrewEd that I started to make more connections, and those connections were personal, they were emotional, but they were also connections that made me think and really consider my position and really consider who I actually was and what I stood for as a leader, both in school without the title in the classroom, and also as a leader in my own personal life as well. And so shooting out those connections, those little threads that just start to build up a bigger picture, I started to realize that this web of connections was really important and was crucial, again, to help me just start to pinpoint and signpost where I was, where I had been, and therefore maybe to start to help me find the way forward to where I would be going. And so through all that, um, I'm not here as the finished product. I'm not at my destination. If I'm honest, I don't know exactly where my end destination is yet. I don't know where I'm journeying to. I'm not even sure how I'm going to get there, but this is how I feel. Stood at the beginning of a world of endless possibilities, of roads with connections, with detours, with completely different endpoints and end destinations. And as I speak to you, I have a job interview on Tuesday at a school that is really aligned to my values, and I'm really looking forward to have the opportunity to really speak to them about me and have that really clear vision of who I am, and to see if we are a good match. As I've said, the reason that I'm speaking to you all about this is because we are all human, and despite the current situation with that even moved, we are all at some point going to suffer from setbacks in our lives, whether that be illness, mental illness, caring for a family member, having children, adopting children, or bereavements. We are all going to have times in our lives where we really have a setback and we really feel knocked. And you might feel, as I did, very lost and very alone. And I just wanted to reassure you that with connections, with signposting and pinpointing and working your way backwards, you will once again find where you are, and you will once again be ready to move forward, and to discover what lies ahead of you on your journeys. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I would love to hear from you and to connect with you. So please do get in touch with me. And I hope that anything I've said today is of some use to you. And I just want to thank Graham again for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you all for welcoming me to my first ever BrewEd. I'm hoping, because I'm on a slightly later afternoon slot, that some of you are a couple of drinks down already and feeling very warm and friendly and welcoming towards me. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Graham.
Lucy, thank you so much, and again, thank you for being so brave in sharing your journey. Do you know what? I'm looking at the comments that are scrolling down the side here, and it seems again to be resonating with so many people that the things that you are saying that need to be said.
Oh, good.
So I think, best of luck on Tuesday with your interview. Have you got to do a remote one?
Thank you. Yes. So me and technology is not a great mix anyway. So this was a good sort of test run of everything. So thank you so much for that, and I'm feeling more confident now going into that, knowing that this side works.
Lucy, I think if you go in and you tell them your story, and if you print off some of these comments that you've had here today, I don't think it's a problem, the job at all. So it's fantastic.
Wow, thank you. Thanks so much.
No, thank you so much for sharing your story and for your first BrewEd presentation. I know you were a bit worried about it, but you really didn't need to be. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much, Graham. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care. See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.